Yo guys, welcome back to my channel. If you haven't done it already, please click the subscribe button. Follow me across all my social media platforms. Links in the description box below. Don't forget guys, click a like on this video, guys. It helps out a lot. Something to do with algorithms, I don't know, but it helps out a lot. Yeah, also click the subscribe button. There's a silent majority of you guys who are listening but you're not subscribed. That would be amazing if you guys could do that. Boom. Carlos Taka versus Joyce. Let's get cracking. Let's get straight into this. Yeah. Forget. Or we'll talk about the undercard a little bit afterwards. But we're here for the main course. But yeah, scrap away all of the coleslaw, the bloody Perry chips, bun, all of that. Yeah. We're looking at the steak, fam. Looking at the chicken. We're looking at the main. If you're vegan, we apologize. We're very inclusive, but nevertheless, let's get cracking. Boom. Joyce. Look, in terms of ring walks, okay, let's start with that. Joyce just had a funny ring walk, and I'm hopefully that massive costume didn't really affect his performance. In my opinion, he's not going to use the Deontay Wilder excuse, whereas the costume was weighing down on my neck, and that means that like it affected me with regards to my defensive work. But round one, we'll get straight to it. Round one, defensively, Joyce was a bit all over the place. Left us wide open. His tactics was, I don't know whether it is his tactics or the way he was doing in the ring, because somebody could sit there and say, you know what, there, first round, feed him up, jab, and move, yeah. Third, the coaches aren't going to tell you to leave your guard wide open. They're not going to tell you to drop your hands to the floor. They're not going to tell you to do all of that. So it's up to the fighter whether he wants to listen to his coaches, etc. And not every fighter, in my opinion, listens to their coaches 100%. There's always got to be that part where if you don't listen to your coach, like a small percentage, and you could always work on that, in my opinion. But defensively, very, very shoddy. I don't know what tactics he did. So Carlos Taka was throwing, and Carlos Taka was a lot smaller, by the way. He had a very high, thin guard like this, yeah, covering his face against a shorter fighter. Is that necessarily needed against a shorter fighter? I would argue no, that's not actually needed. AJ, how he fought Ruiz, is he didn't have it like this, yeah. Maybe against when Ruiz was like at his closest, that's when he done that. He guarded up the second time. But instead of having that, he just dropped his hands, maybe have it slightly outwards to block the incoming shot, to have the front arm to block in his amazing hooks, and have the backhand to do block any jabs that this guy's throwing. I doubt he's going to throw any jabs because he barely did anyway. So he could have blocked a lot of the right-handed shots with a wide stance, with a stance where his arms are dropped, his arms were a little bit slightly extended because he had the taller reach. You could see things from a bird's eye view, and that would make it a lot more efficient defensively. Didn't do that, kept doing that, blocked all of his vision, and got caught left, right, centre, all over the gaff. Yeah. Carlos Taka applied the pressure again in round two, and Joyce was sort of trying to, I don't know, stay afloat. Imagine getting thrown into the bottom, not bottom, but get thrown into the deep end of the water. You don't know how to swim, or no, you do know how to swim, but let's say you're thrown into, instead of a swimming pool, like a river, for example, or like, I don't know, a beach water, for example, and there's tides all over the place, and you're swimming like you start panicking and you start floating and you start flapping out, you're moving a bit mad, yeah. And then round three, somebody tells you, you know what, just relax, calm down, yeah. If you relax, you stop panicking, you end up floating to the surface of the water, and then you can begin to start getting your stride and start swimming. That's exactly what he did. He started getting in his stride, he started swimming, he started reading the shots better. Round three going on round four. Even though I gave round three to Carlos Taka, it was a much more better improvement from Joyce on the third round. The fourth round, again, it was similar to the third round, and the fifth round was very similar, but it was a slight, like very minimal progression, very minimal. Carlos Takam was still getting his shots up. He was still having the ability to catch Joyce repeatedly, and way too much for. I wouldn't say way too much for my liking, because I'm not really a huge Joyce fan. But he's a British fighter, and he gets unanimous support when he's fighting against any opposition that's outside of the UK. But he was getting way too caught for my liking, way too caught. And then furthermore, like end of round 5, he managed to clip Carlos Takam and wobble him a bit. But you know what Carlos Takam was doing? Carlos Takam was applying he was towards round 3 to round 5. He decreased his punch output and saved it to the last 30 seconds of the round, trying to point score and win that round, because that's the last thing you remember. The last 30 seconds is often what you remember last, or you remember first, for example, for when it comes to scoring for the judges, etc. And that can influence a judge who scored to the fighter who shown a large influx in that round. And a similar case happened with Canelo Alvarez versus Billy Joe Saunders. For those of you guys who watched that fight, there was a couple of rounds where Billy Joe Saunders dominated the round for the first 2 minutes, maybe 2.5 minutes, but Canelo Alvarez threw a great amount of body shots in that last 30 seconds, for example, and on some of the judges' scorecards, he won those points. So it's a very smart tactic in regards to point scoring, but from my opinion, Takam exuded too much of his energy way too early. Georgia started way too slow for my liking. Extremely slow. Very similar to Daniel Dubois. In fact, this performance was worse than Daniel Dubois against Daniel Dubois. Way worse against Daniel Dubois. So we're going into round 6. He basically went hell for leather, despite the fact that his coach just said jab, and then hook to the body and then slow him down. He decided to throw all of that out the window and just went for a hell for leather. Very dangerous tactic, and one that cannot be replicated if you're fighting the likes of Anthony Joshua, or the likes of Tyson Fury, or Dillian White, for example, as well. You can't really replicate that. You can't really go hell for leather against some of these fighters, because they'll go even. I wouldn't say it's risky against Del Boy as well. Okay, it's so I wouldn't adopt that tactic going forward in any way, shape, or form, because that he could have got caught out. His energy bar was at his lowest when he was striking against Carlos Takam. But Carlos Takam, being 40 years old, he showed his age, and he just had a lack of energy, and just ended up folding. And it was a good knockout for Joyce. Where do I see him next? Well, unfortunately, what the WBO have done, and I say this unfortunately because the mandatory for the WBO is Alexander Usyk. Alexander Usyk is currently lining up a fight against Anthony Joshua for his world heavyweight title shot. Whilst he's doing that, they're lining up another WBO mandatory for Joyce. Why are they doing this? I don't get it at all. He's literally fulfilling his mandatory currently. You don't need to line up the next one afterwards. Yeah, and the next one shouldn't be Joyce. No way it should be Joyce. For me, in my opinion, the mandatory position should be the best person from that bunch, the best person from that selection should be a person who has beaten the other fighters around them, to then get themselves in a position where they're worthy enough to go up to the king and try to dethrone the king. Imagine AJ sitting at the top of the castle being the king of the castle, and they bloody feed him guys who've got barely any good names on their record, and they all of a sudden get the position of a mandatory challenger. Great example, Kubrat Pulev. What the hell has Kubrat Pulev done to become mandatory? Avni Yildirim 2 years out of boxing, has a box for 2 years and gets a shot at Canelo Alvarez for the WBA, I believe. Like, how are these lot getting their mandatories? I don't understand how it is. AJ or Anthony Joshua should be sitting at top of the castle, yeah. All of these man, Jojo should fight Usyk, or should fight Dillian White, should fight Ruiz, and flipping Joseph Parker, or all of these men should fight each other, yeah. And the best of that one should come up to ADC. You know what? I'm worthy enough for a title shot. Not flipping fighting to Carlos Takam, yeah. And Daniel Dubois on paper, his best performance is against Nathan Gorman. So, like, who else did he face? I don't know. Richard Lartey. Did he fight Richard Lartey? Yeah, I think he fought Richard Lartey. Apart from that, who else? Come on, fam. Yeah? Brian Jennings and Daniel Dubois should get you a position where you fight for Carlos Hagen. Not good enough, in my opinion. Get a couple of more names on your record, and maybe we could speak. But that's a very, very shady thing with the WBO. I think, in my opinion, they try to just strip Anthony Joshua. Personally, my opinion. I don't think that they want him to be a mandatory challenger, or have the WBO belt, simply because he's not making them. How do I say it? Is he making them enough money? I don't know. I don't know the numbers, but if, let's say, Joe Joyce is mandatory, Joe Joyce will probably fight 3 times a year. I'll probably make them slightly a little bit more money because of the frequency of the fights, and because they just gotta rotate the mandatories and the WBO a lot. Like, they'll rotate it like a bloody turnstile. I think that's how they're gonna generate slightly a little bit more money than have it with one champion in Anthony Joshua, rather than multiple different champions. So personally, I think they don't like AJ, and I think they just try to strip him personally. Yeah. So listen, Joyce should fight a top contender. You guys know who my opinion is a top contender: AJ, Fury, Wilder, Joyce, Ruiz, White, Hergovic, like people like that. Fight a couple of those dons, then come to the manager's shop. But it is what it is, fam. Also, shout out Pro Supplements. Okay, they also sponsor David Adelaide. David Adelaide fought on tonight's show. Not the greatest performance. So this is what I think with regards to David Adelaide. Let me just take some water. Hold on. With regards to his performance, it was the right idea. Defensively, he was fairly decent. Not like wow defensively, and not like rubbish. Like, fairly decent defensively. Output wise, again, similar to his previous fight, not a great amount of punch output. He'll throw one, like, the coach was telling him to throw 3 shots, or maybe a double jab right, or maybe 1-2 hook, or maybe 1-2, like a 3 punch selection. He'll do a 1 or 2 punch selection, and also the judges wanted him to fight or punch a lot more closer from the last selection of punches to the current selection of punches. The gap was way too wide for my liking. For 1, maybe a jab, 1-2, and left a big gap. 1-2, left a big gap. Could be better, personally. Maybe, in my opinion, maybe you should consider dropping weight, because I'm not sure whether it's the weight or the conditioning that's affecting his ability to throw a higher amount of quantity punches. He was also getting flustered in regards to getting, throwing punches to the arm, to the elbow, etc. Whereas the coaches were like, you know what, just carry on throwing. When you carry on throwing, you get you calibrate your accuracy, and you become a lot more pinpoint in your task to hit the opponent with venom and rage. And that's what I think, in my opinion. If you carry on throwing punches, chances are something's got to stick. So hopefully a great better performance. The opponent was rubbish, bro. Listen, I have to blame Frank, but I also have to blame David for that one, because David, when he looks at his opponent and he just sees that, like, in my opinion, David should just be like, you know what, Frank, listen, I ain't accepting that opponent. You could get me something, get me Nathan Coleman, get me something better than that, because that is rubbish. Sorry, I ain't fighting a guy like that. But don't waste my time, fam. Yeah, don't waste my time. Yeah, shout out Crepton Conan. Like the guy was. I don't know where they got that opponent from. They flipping got the opponent from the flipping calf or something. I don't know where they got this guy from. Yeah, well overweight, skinhead, bruv. Yeah, some flipping Burnley calf, bruv. They got this guy from. Yeah, horrible blood, horrible fight, blood. Oh my god, fam. Oh my god, I know bare man that's better than this guy, and they're not even pros. Imagine that. I know bare man that's not even pros that better than this guy. Flipping KSI, they're not better than this guy. Bruv, like, it was bad, man. It was absolutely bad. Anyway, hopefully the matchmaking against a better opponent, and then he can show his skills. Nathan Gorman would be a good shout. Maybe the likes of Eric Molina would be a good shout as well. Those sort of fights. Richard Lartey would be a good shout as well. Richard Lartey, you know, Richard Lartey always comes with a good vibe, good ring walk, you know, provide us a level of entertainment with his Ghanaian, you know, affable nature. So hopefully we see something better from David Adderley. And yeah, great performance from also Hamza Shiraz and his win. Great uppercut, knockout against the Spanish one. That's what you're talking about with regards to a better conditioned fighter. That Spanish guy that Hamza Shiraz was facing against was a very much a good conditioned fighter. He was quality wise. He was of a good standard, and he was good enough to test Hamza Shiraz slightly. Okay, even though Hamza Shiraz was a lot longer, a lot rangier. Didn't look like he was in any sort of trouble in any way, shape or form, but that performance or that quality of opponent should be sort of the bog standard, and therefore, in my opinion, I think that the commissioning bodies or the board of control, whoever it is, should really look at pro licenses. If you can't hit a certain target with regards to just a running target or a flipping whatever target it is, then that fighter shouldn't be holding a license in any way, shape or form. That fighter should be in the ring in any way, shape or form, because imagine if that fighter ends up losing his life and he wasn't in any way, shape or condition to even be in the fighting spirit, in the fighting mood. Some people, I've heard stories of some people saying that they were drinking a couple of nights before and in the pub, and they got caught saying, oh yeah, you want to fight last minute, and then they go and they take a fight last minute. There should be more protections to these sort of fighters. They shouldn't be flushed into the deep end so drastically, in my opinion. But nevertheless, great, good. I wouldn't say good performances all round, but you know, good card, good production by SSC as well. You know, good production as well. I have to give it to Frank as well. For us, that one, it's getting better, and it's, you know, like, things are getting a lot brighter. Regardless of the line of questioning after the Joyce fight, I have to, for me, yeah, I love Pancia, but listen, the questions he was asking, are you happy? Fam, like, do you watch your fights after this? You watch your fights after you fight, right? You watch your fights. What kind of flipping question is that, fam? Like, what kind like, I'm honestly, bro, maybe it's just me, fam, yeah? But I was listening to this question, big, what a daft question, bro. Are you happy, bro? Big man, he just came out of punching a guy's head in, fam. And the guy got punched in the head, fam. You're asking my man, is he happy, fam? Big man think, is this a therapy session, bro? Yeah? Are you flipping Dr. Bunsford or the hell, bro? Yeah? When you got your notebook and your bloody and your glasses rolled down to your eyes, fam. Yeah, big up therapy. I think everyone should do it, and I think everyone should adopt the mindset of self-improvement and getting things off your chest and talk with somebody if you're going through any difficult circumstances, etc. But fam, there's a time and there's a place for this, yeah. And after the fight, where a guy's punching, like getting his head punched in, yeah, it's not the best time to ask a man if he's happy, fam, in life, yeah. You know the way there. Like, are you happy with what? Are you happy with your, like, are you, how would your sister performance on a scale of 1 to 10? How, like, stuff like that, bro. Come on, fam. Like, I'm not flipping interviewer, fam. I ain't gonna lie. Could I have done a better job? Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Flipping, are you happy? Bro, come on, fam. Don't. Anyway. Yeah. We try to keep a lot more positive on the channel, okay? But you have to basically comment on the whole thing as a whole, okay? I'm not gonna let me just take on. Yeah, it's recorded. Boom. Yeah, I don't want to comment on, like, on the fight and just skip things that I see. Also, as well, last thing, was it an early stoppage? My opinion, no, not an early stoppage. With regards to the Joyce versus Dagger fight, the guy was getting punched in the head, fam, yeah, repeatedly, one after the other. Didn't look like he was wrong. Looked very wobbled. It was wobbling here, wobbling there, wobbling here, wobbling there. Okay. If he did stop the fight, and let's say the bell rang, in my opinion, I would assess that fight as a 10-8 round. Basically, yeah. The guy looked out of it, bro. The guy looked like he was gone. Okay, so rather than getting flipping smoke out there, I think the best thing to do is to stop the fight there and then. Personally, in my opinion, because we have to look after the fighter's health. So what would you expect the guy to get knocked down and then you call the fight off afterwards? Or what did he flip it do when he guys on a wheelchair can't speak a flipping word of English? Is that like are you gonna be looking at him thinking, fam, yo, maybe you could have stopped the fight a bit earlier? But you know what? It is what it is, fam. Yeah. You have to look after the fighter's health in all way, shape, form. I know this is boxing. I know, it's a bit contradictory in regards to the sport that we're in, but was it a right stoppage? In my opinion, yes. If I thought the fighter wasn't really hurt but just taking too much punishment, I get it, fam. But in this circumstance, he looked too hurt for my liking. But hopefully onwards and upwards. What is the next show? The next show, today is the 24th of July. Next show is on the 31st of July, I think, is with Conor Ben, I believe. Could be wrong. Conor Ben is fighting in the next couple of weeks. So hopefully good performance from Conor Ben. Who else is fighting? I think Boatsi's coming up soon. Fight camp's coming up soon anyway. And also the Olympics. So Fraser Clark, I would see him in the Olympics as well. Onwards and upwards, guys. Great show from Frank Warren, great show from BT Sport, etc. XC Arena, you guys did an amazing job. Peace, love, and prosperity. Like the video, guys. Yeah, like the video. Yeah, that it's just for me. Like it, subscribe if you haven't done already. I really appreciate it. Also, you guys seen that I changed a bit of the background roof color. Didn't really like the cream. Wanted to change it up a bit, so we done it a bit over like a greyish purple. But we're also going to have a bit more like I'm gonna put my canvases in the background, and maybe have a couple of more artifacts in the room as well. So more figures to go off the canvas boxing as well. So peace, love, and prosperity, guys, and I catch you guys in a bit. Peace.